Now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule, and we have the icon, the legend, the orator of just the best stories you've ever heard in your life. He was on a 30 for 30, longtime newspaper man in this town. Of course, he is T-Foss, Terry Foster.
You know, I want to thank you. I want to tell my Ralph Sampson story, but all you guys want are stories on sex.
That seems to be the consensus, T-Foss. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. We have Sam in the sound booth as well. Sawyer on the ones and twos as far as the production angle goes. Happy to have y'all along for the ride. Remember, you can jump in on our YouTube channel, and we have that chat open and going. You guys are firing off messages by the hundreds on there. We read some of those as we go along. A big football weekend. New Year's has come and gone, and look, guys, we're going to get into it. We need to recap the Michigan-Georgia game and what happened down there in Miami. We need to recap what Michigan State did against Pitt. We certainly need to recap what the Lions did in Seattle because they lost, but they really won, and you guys know where I stand with that. But T-Foss, I have to know, just based on you, your history, everything like that, New Year's Eve has come and gone. What was New Year's like in the Foster household?
Very boring. In fact, I didn't see the ball drop, which has probably happened 3 out of the last 4 years. I didn't hear the fireworks and gunfire and everything that happens. Some reason, I saw the entire Michigan-Georgia game. I saw the post game, but I never made it to midnight. I was done. And I woke up, it was like 2 in the morning. I'm like, damn, did we have New Year's or not? Because I didn't hear anything. Yeah. So it's pretty boring. You know, even when I was young, I didn't do much on New Year's Eve. When I was younger, I used to get it in on New Year's Eve. I'm sure you did. Get it in. However, those things have changed. Oakland had a basketball game on New Year's Day, so I was getting the broadcast stuff ready for that. Obviously, had to watch the game as well, and kiddos. And you can't do the broadcast with red eyes.
Well, depends on how hard you try, Terry. But
I'm sure you're a professional. You wouldn't do it.
No. So I mean, as far as that goes, it was a normal work night. And then I talked before, my daughter is really into New Year's. She's sick. She made it to midnight, which was the first time she's ever done that.
Great.
And was asleep by about 12:03. But she made it. And it was fun. It was cool being around the kids and all that stuff, and they get fired up for it. But other than that, it was like a basic work night. And I'm telling you, too, just the college football playoff, it cut into New Year's, and New Year's cut into the college football playoff for me. It just
shouldn't be played on New Year's Eve.
No doubt about it.
New Year's Day. And this year, you can't play on Sunday because of the NFL. But you could play on New Year's Day. You can play, you know what, do like basketball. You can play it on a Monday.
Play it on Thursday the 30th.
Sure.
How about that?
But it kind of cuts it because I can envision some woman going out with her man and he's got his tux on and everything and she wants to dance and have champagne and everything and he's peeking up at the TV like, well, Michigan and Georgia on. I got to watch this. And she's like, no. I bet you young couples have fights.
Yeah, well, I kind of felt that kind of pressure in the household as well because the game was on and my family was doing the board game stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, I got to pay attention to what's going on here to see if Michigan can come back in this thing. But towards the end of the third quarter, I jumped in the family game time. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
You want to hear about my most jacked up New Year's Eve?
Yes, I do.
We were in Green Bay. The Lions were playing the next day against the Packers, of course. And so we went out to dinner, and we went to a movie. And then somehow, some way, we ended up at a senior citizens party. And so I peek in. I thought it was a regular party. I'm like, okay, everybody's got blue hair or silver hair, and the guys are all bent over, and the women are like 4 feet tall. I said, let me get out. I tried to get out. This woman grabbed me by the hand, says, "Oh, you're not leaving yet. You got to until you dance with me." So I had to dance with this little chick, and she's real small, and I'm trying to be respectful because she was old enough to be my grandmother. So, but she wouldn't let me go. We had to stay there for like a half hour.
So you got it in
45. Yeah.
Do you have drinks?
Yeah.
Yeah. T-Foss, that's all you need to have a party, man.
Gypsy vodka and prune juice.
And some ice cubes, and,
yeah,
you were good to go.
Night.
Yeah,
right.
You were good to go, certainly. But, D-Mac will be out for this week. He's got some business ventures that he's working on. That's all I can disclose of as of right now. Joik will be back tomorrow as well. And T-Foss will be checking in and out, as we roll through all of that. And Jake Wegener says, CMU Sun Bowl, fire up, Chips. The alma mater.
That was exciting. Obviously a bowl that in the grand scheme of things doesn't mean much, but it meant something for us Chippewas. It meant something for me because the Chippewas basically drove over from Arizona to El Paso to the Sun Bowl, where I had some of my greatest adventures. I would have loved to have gone down and shown some of the young Chippewas, around a little bit.
You have experience in those parts.
I have experience there. That's right. Take him to the bar where the bartenders would urinate behind the bar. They had like a trough behind the bar. I was like, why does it smell so bad in here? And then the bartender said, because they won't let us use the bathroom. We have to use it back here. I said, that is so sick. I said, hey, Mexico, brother.
This isn't even story time yet. Sawyer's dying right now. If you guys could see Sawyer's face right now, he's dying back
Sawyer
there.
looks like he was a former bartender.
No, he's more of the bouncer. He's got more of the bouncer look.
Now I bet you can mix some drinks.
You could do both, right, Sawyer?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy making some drinks. I've been told I could be a bouncer too, but making the drinks is fun. Shake them up, pour it out all cool.
You think you could throw the bottles up in the air and catch them behind your back?
I was just thinking about that. I don't think I could be there yet, but like get the shoulder flip and stuff.
I know this
awesome.
dude in Las Vegas that does that because we used to go to the D Las Vegas. Man, they have fake bottles with no booze in them, and they have the regular booze, and they would just throw them around. It was great. And then they set your drink on fire, and it would taste pretty good. Loved it.
Oh, T-Foss. And it's not even story time. We got an episode of story time with T-Foss coming up later?
Now, do you want me to tell you another sex story, or can I tell you my Isaiah Thomas, Ralph Sampson story?
We'll leave it up to the people on our YouTube chat thread.
We're going to get to that story
media.
one day. It may be 8 months from now, but we're going to get to the Isaiah Thomas, Ralph Sampson story.
Hey, guys, what would you prefer? Would you prefer T-Foss to tell a story about how Isaiah Thomas was almost traded for Ralph Sampson? Or would you prefer a T-Foss sex story? Please let us know in the YouTube chat thread which direction you would prefer Storytime with T-Foss to go. Hey, I'll keep an eye on the thread, and we'll tally up the votes and see which one wins.
I get the feeling we're never going to get to this Isaiah Thomas, Ralph Sampson story.
We'll do that one, about 38 past the second hour? Is that fair? Yeah, you guys know how it works. I'll monitor and keep an eye on it and tally the votes and see if you guys want a Ralph Sampson trade story or if you want a Terry Foster sex story. It'll be up to you. What do you got, Sam?
See, I'm an NBA super fan and a historian, so that Isaiah Thomas, Ralph Sampson story, I'm kind of dying to hear that. So if I can influence the audience,
you know what? It's something that nobody knows. Or how about this? Very few people know.
Oh, Steve Brown. I want to hear the Isaiah Thomas, Ralph Sampson story. Steve, you're a liar. You're a GD liar. People, they love the stories already. You already gave a story about bartenders down in Mexico. Ah, boy. T-Foss's 8.5 story last week was more like a 7.
Was it?
Man, people, it's tough in the streets out there, man.
Hey, I'm used to it. I'm used to the scrutiny.
Yeah. Oh, boy. A lot of people are saying both. You can't. No, you guys, you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. You can't have both. You can have one or the other. Do you want the Isaiah Thomas, Ralph Sampson trade story, or do you want a T-Foss sex story? But we got time. We're going to get into all that. We're certainly going to get into the...
And the sex story is surrounded by the Super Bowl. Something I used to do every year.
Do you want a Super Bowl sex story, or do you want Isaiah Thomas, Ralph Sampson?
That does not involve sex.
Sure. So there you have it. We'll see which one wins out here today. But we're going to get into the Detroit Lions, I think, coming up in hour number 2 of the program, because I think that the Michigan-Georgia discussion, to some degree, too, the Michigan State-Pitt discussion, takes center stage, I think, just based on what we saw, based on the way the storylines played out. Because, and there are a lot of you that are owning it in our YouTube chat thread. Some people are saying, who's Ralph Sampson? So that tells you I know what that's a vote for. But some people are owning it in the YouTube chat thread. I saw a lot of people own it on social media as well. I have to look you guys in the camera and say I fell for the okie doke as well. But T-Foss, just your initial reactions when you saw what was going down on that field, and we're going to continue this as we go on here, because there's a bunch of different storylines that we can get into. Just your 30,000-foot initial takeaway from what happened in Miami.
The SEC is way better than the Big Ten, at least the top level of it. Because I kept saying, the SEC is 1-5 in bowl games, but those games don't count. When you get the elite of the elite, unless it's Ohio State, when they're on their up, the Big Ten just cannot compete. But I'm going to say this. It's going to get me in trouble, but I don't give a damn. We have to treat Michigan the same way that we treated Michigan State after they got mollywopped by Alabama. You got to laugh at Michigan. Here's what I've heard. Oh, Michigan, we had a great season, and this loss doesn't taint what happened this year. We beat Ohio State. We won the Big Ten. We made the Final Four. Isn't this beautiful? Yes, you can say that, but here's something else you need to do. You need to laugh at their ass. And the reason I say that is because when Michigan State got mollywopped by Alabama, people laughed for 6 years. You don't belong, Sparty. You're a joke, Sparty. Ha, 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 ha. Well, Michigan did the same damn thing. Went down there talking big stuff. Hey, we're Michigan, and we're gold blue, and we're back, and this is just the beginning. You were never in that game. So, and I'm going to steal a line from you. Both things can be true. Yes, Michigan had a wonderful season. Yes, Michigan beat Ohio State. Yes, Michigan won the Big Ten. But you also got your asses kicked. Ha, ha, ha. Both things can be true.
And they are. To this point, they are true. And we're going to unwrap a lot of the storylines, because I think there is a lot to get to. And look, I've always been honest with you guys. I'll stand here and say, hey, I celebrated David Ajabo and all his accolades and bought in and everything like that. I think from the coin toss, when they walked out for the coin toss, I don't, and look, maybe I'm overselling this because I'm in the media and that's what we do, but you saw two groups of people out there for the coin toss, the Georgia group and the Michigan group. And one group was built different.
Yeah. And then they ran different. What's the fat guy, number 99? The fat guy weighs
Jordan Davis.
The 6'6", 390-pound guy. Didn't he run down Blake Corum from behind, too?
Yeah, he ran. We've been talking about, Blake Corum, this guy is so damn fast. That fat guy ran his ass down. Caught him from behind, wrapped him up like a pretzel, and threw him aside.
Yeah, Jordan Davis is his name.
Jordan Davis, the fat guy.
Absolute monster. But we're going to get into it. We're going to unpack it all. And look, for those of you, and there's a picture right now that our guy Sawyer has put up on the YouTube channel. Look at that man right there. Look at that. That's arm
not
sleeve.
A man. That's a building.
That arm sleeve is just hanging on for dear life around that bicep right there. I mean, they were built different, but we are going to break it down. And hey, if you had Georgia minus the 7, minus the 7.5, minus the 8.5, you were counting that money in the third quarter. You were ready to go, and hopefully you did the deed on mybookie.ag. Hopefully you took advantage of their great deposit bonus that they have rolling. They'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Now, hopefully you took advantage of that. You used the promo code Woodward. You got it in and laid it all down on Georgia. It was really weird the way all the bets were coming in on Michigan, but the line was never moving, which kind of tells you something. And if you caught that, hopefully you took advantage at mybookie.ag. The UFC fights, the parlays, anything you guys want to do, you can get it in at mybookie.ag. And look, Everyone's running, deposit bonuses and stuff like that. MyBookie, amongst the best in the industry. Let me tell you what else, and this is where it's practical. You jump on the site at mybookie.ag. It's clean. It's easy to navigate. It's easy to understand. Easy to read. Those things matter, guys. You got some of these apps on your phone, maybe some of these other companies you're using, you're kind of struggling to see, the colors are weird and all that stuff. Go to mybookie.ag. Give a spin around that interface, and don't tell me they're not one of the best in the game at what they're doing. And they'll double your first deposit. Just use a promo code Woodward and tap in with mybookie.ag. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a problem with gambling? Call the Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Off and running, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, Uncle T-Foss in the house. Storytime with T-Foss coming up about 38 minutes past the second hour of the show. We got Sam in the house. We got Sawyer as well. We are off and running here. Tap in on that YouTube chat thread. Get your thoughts in real time. Our social media handles are on the screen also. We'll if you got something to say, we'll do our best to get it in here today. Mickey Lum Phelps on our YouTube chat thread. Let's talk about the month-long narrative after the Iowa game that this Michigan team was different and how Georgia was overrated and hadn't beat anyone good, so U of M was going to win, and all the SEC bias. And T-Foss, that was the point that you brought up as well.
Yeah, here's how I can compare this. Let's say my beloved alma mater, Central Michigan, wins the MAC and is unbeaten. It's kicking everybody's ass, right? Then they have to go play Michigan in a bowl game. And then we're Chippewa. Oh, we're talking all this crap. We're 11-0. We're CMU. We're going to beat them in the big house. No, we're not. So this is the same scenario. The Big Ten in comparison to the top end of the SEC is like the MAC playing the Big Ten. Most times you're not going to win. Most times you're not even going to beat the spread. And way back in the day, I used to be afraid of teams that were bigger than the team I was rooting for. Then it changed. It was a team that was fastest that I was afraid of because speed kills in football. Georgia, they were bigger and faster. So when you put those two things, I was joking my wife. I said, these aren't athletes out here. These are athletes. These are dudes about to,
They were built different,
They were built different. That's right.
I don't know what else. Anybody who watched that game, I don't know how you can come to any other conclusion. And I saw on social media, and I like to monitor through Twitter just to get the thoughts of the people. And I saw people calling game plans into question. If structurally X's and O's wise, if you want to question anything in that game, the only thing that made me raise my eyebrow was going for it on the first possession that Michigan did when it was like, what was it, 4th and 6? Or something like that. It was 4th and 5. It wasn't like it was 4th and 1.
That's true, but maybe the Michigan coaches already knew.
The way Georgia went down the field on them?
They are on the field watching it. Maybe they said, these brothers are really ridiculous. We got to do something crazy.
Rack says the Georgia wide receivers and running backs look like grown men playing against children. Jack Harrington says Georgia's defense, it's really good. And look, that was the narrative, right, where we saw Alabama hang 41 on them, and maybe they're a bit overrated, and they didn't play anybody and stuff like that. And I did go back to this, and I'm not going to say I told you so because I really liked Michigan's chances in this football game going in, where I did bring up the point, though, they did play at Clemson. And I know it's not national champion Clemson, but it was 11-win Clemson. It was an 11-win Clemson that was along the same lines as Michigan.
I know, but it's funny when those teams that we're used to seeing in national championship games, when they lose 1 or 2 games, we're like, these teams are no good. No, they're just having an off year, which Michigan is celebrating a 2-loss season now. Michigan is thrilled about a 2-loss season. Michigan is thrilled even though they lost to their rivals, Michigan State. Michigan is thrilled because they beat Ohio State and won the Big Ten. That's Bo Schembechler. That's what Bo wanted to do every year. Beat Ohio State, win the Big Ten.
T. Foss, you told me when I said this. Remember when I talked about this and said, this is an opportunity for Michigan to jump in there, and time will tell. If you don't get back, remember these exact words. You and I were doing the show. You were sitting in that chair.
But we don't know if they're not getting back.
Well, I understand that. But if you don't, you know what time will say? It was just a down year, a down game for Ohio State. If Ohio State continues to do it, if you don't get back, when you swim in these waters, T. Foss, it's a different pool you're in now. And that's when you have these opportunities. That's why you got to capitalize, and especially you talked about it too. If they got mollywopped, these were some of the questions that were going to be asked, because that's where we are in college football now. The same reason everybody hates all the bowl games, because the college football playoff has robbed the bowl games of importance. This is what we've decided. This is what we've gone towards now. You're either in this club or you're not. That's it, man.
That's true, but even though Michigan got mollywopped, it still did not shake a lot of Michigan fans. They're still saying great season.
And that's my question.
Just had a bad night.
That's my question. Do you still feel the same way? Because I know you asked me that going into this game, and I drew the line in the sand. I talked about that, where you do need to win this game to validate to some degree.
On our game, maybe we could have been competitive. And this town has been still great city, great season.
No, and I understand that, but you can't have that both ways, T. Foss. You're either in this discussion or you're not.
That's true. But if Michigan had lost 34-31, guess what? I'd be among those people who say, hey, you know what? Great season. They lost because of a field goal. They lost because of a fourth quarter collapse. They're right there. But you can't say that. All you can say is Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, LSU, I'll throw them in there. When they're right, the rest of the country is a Big Ten school that can do that.
Yeah, and again, for me, T. Foss, it was just one of those things where you saw them. Are you going to draw from Jim Harbaugh? Other than Georgia's got the 4-star and 5-star market cornered.
But, you keep bringing up that fourth down. I think the coaches are saying, oh, Lord, we're in a world of hurt. We got to do something crazy, and we got to be perfect with it. So I don't fault them for going for it on fourth down. Didn't work, but you got to do. Sometimes let's go back to the Lions. What do we say about the Lions? Sometimes I think Dan Campbell makes the most ridiculous decisions in the world, but I do understand he feels he's undermanned, that he's got to do something nutty, and it's got to be perfect. I think Michigan coaches looked at Georgia and said, okay, we're in a world of hurt. These dudes are really good. So we got to do something nutty, and it's got to work. And even if we don't do something nutty, we're going to lose anyway. So we may as well roll the dice now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're obviously going to continue this discussion. But for me, T. Foss, we saw Michigan do things they hadn't done all year. They dropped passes. They committed penalties. Blake Corum got an unnecessary roughness penalty. He looked very, very frustrated out there. And I know there were some people talking about this, and Jake Wegener says this. I'm not shook because McCarthy, Corum, Edwards, Anthony all stayed after to watch Georgia celebrate, all underclassmen. They will be hungry next year. Hopefully next year we see growth. And I understand that, and I understand that everybody got excited about that. But when Corum was playing the game, 6 yards, a fumble, a penalty, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when you had the chance to do something about it, they didn't take advantage.
But you know why they didn't take advantage? It wasn't
Georgia,
that they were.
Yeah, because
Georgia
was
that
Georgia.
They were just had a bad game. It's because Georgia created that. Georgia created that uncertainty. Georgia put them in a position they've never been before. When Michigan goes out on the field in the Big Ten, the guys are all relaxed and they're dancing and everything, and because they know they're going to win, or they know that. And
as to
stressed.
What's going on, and you're stressed,
and you're pressed, stressed and pressed.
Right. I mean, that's just the way stuff works. From Miki, Ice Cube is on line one. Michigan fans, big bank take little bank. It's always a good big bank take little bank thing. And I'm curious about this dynamic because I really do see it split. as opposed to the TFOS story poll, which is exactly split. By the way, you guys are lying. 50%. 50% to 50. We're at just about 100 votes. 50-50 right now. The Isaiah Thomas was nearly traded for Ralph Sampson story versus the TFOS Super Bowl sex story. You guys are lying right now. Hey, look.
No, there's people that love history. I understand that.
Guys, look. Guys, you can lie to me, but damn it, don't lie to yourself, okay? Because right now you guys are lying to yourselves.
You're lecturing.
Sometimes people got to be lectured, TFOS, because I know what the people want. But hey, you guys are letting it. It's out there in the universe. Are you your level of stunned right now, Sawyer? 1 to 10 that the story time poll is 50-50.
I'd say I'm like a 6 or 7. I'm not like too shocked, but I'm a little shocked.
I'm 9.9.
We may have to let Sawyer decide.
If it's 50-50, Sawyer's got the hammer.
Ooh,
just so everybody knows. Okay?
We'll keep it open until the break before story time with Terry. And then we'll get the final
we get
answer.
Sawyer and Sam to have a powwow, and they can decide amongst themselves.
Yeah, no, we can certainly do it that way. But this is the line of thought here before we get to the break. MPWMU says this game definitely takes some of the luster off the season. So, that's where it is, where we're seeing the same kind of thing. Joseph Muir DiPietro, they need to repeat the success next year, honestly, besides Ohio State. But that's not mutually exclusive. That's part of the package, because to repeat the success, you have to beat Ohio State, because to win the Big Ten, you have to beat Ohio State.
Right. And you're not going to know if Michigan is different next year until you play Michigan State and Ohio State, because I think they start with, is it Miami of Ohio or Akron or somebody like that? They've got cupcakes in the non-conference. They play most of their games at home. So, once again, Michigan has next year I'm going to say they have a 2-game schedule. Michigan State, Ohio State.